make sure right away. But send this live out as well to people in your circle so we can get the word out. And let me just get these topics right in there before we get ready to start. Week 82. Add this. Next questions.
Good morning, good morning.
So once again, just a reminder, we are live on YouTube as well too, so you can head to our page. If you don't know how to get it, you can click the link in our bio, or you can search on Motivation Mondays live on YouTube, and then you can watch us live and direct from there. Once again, love that, love that. And if you're tuned in, make sure you send it out to 5 other people that are gonna tune in as well too. So we look forward to seeing you guys. Yes, Dora, we got you. And yes, of course, after this, it will be available on all streaming platforms wherever you stream your podcast. So feel free to do so. Mr. Van Gogh, happy belated birthday as well to you. Stacey, how you doing? All right, let's get into it. Motivation Mondays, week 82. How you doing, my brother? Good morning.
Good. I'm good. How you doing?
Good. How's your weekend?
It was great. Went by real quick, but hey, such is life.
I feel like that's how the weekends went. It was funny. I seen a post about October, how like October just literally came here quick and boom.
It's gone.
We're into November right now, and now we're gearing up for December, and just like that, the year is almost done.
Yep.
So for week 82, our topics are reciprocation, negative thinking / positive thinking, how to be responsible, and stop the blame game. And that's our topics for this morning. So we're gonna start off with reciprocation. That's basically the act of doing something if it's done to you or like energy. But where I wanted to bring it to was, how do we reciprocate to our own lives what we want that's in our mind? Because I feel like sometimes we play that mind game where there's stuff we want in our mind, but it's not done through our actions. So I feel like I want to take the word reciprocation, break it down, and use it more for ourselves than for others.
Well, anywhere that you plan to take, you gotta give. You know, so that goes for I think it's one of the universal law. Similar to you reap what you sow, or you sow what you reap. So I think in life, when it comes to us giving and taking, it's like we gotta start giving more so we can get more. Right? We can't just take all for ourselves in this world and just try to escape life. Just live selfishly. Right? For you to see your flowers, for you to bear fruits of your labor, you have to invest in the soil. You have to invest in labor. You have to give back to the land for you to start producing vegetables and fruits for yourself. And it's kind of like the same thing on any scopes that you look at it. For you to gain something as far as in your occupation, right? You have to give to that job so they could give back to you, right? So it's all about where it is that you're looking for answers from. Right, where it is that you're looking for results from, you got to invest in that purpose. You got to invest in that tunnel, I should say, or that door that you're hoping to get a blessings from.
As adults, is it something that when it comes to reciprocating energy and the way you are towards somebody, is that something that we should analyze? Like in terms of friendship, how we're giving our time, how if you're there for somebody in time of need, is that something as adults, as we grow older, we need to look into that? Okay, if this person is reciprocating the same energy, then I'm gonna give it back. Or if they're not, then I'm not giving it back.
I think it's personality. You shouldn't let no one or a situation define who you are. Right? If you're a person that gives, so be it. If the person doesn't like to give, that shouldn't change who you are as a character. So now we're looking into two issues. We're talking about personality and acting upon other people's behavior. Like I said, I think we shouldn't change upon other people's behavior towards us, right? If you're a giving person, so be it. But understanding the power of giving, it may not come back through the same channel you gave in. Your blessings is on its way. Often we look at it like, I gave somebody this, so I must expect this back from them, right? I think we have to start looking at it like, I gave somebody this for the better version of myself, so I will be receiving something long-term from the greater good of my cause.
Is that more of a mindset understanding where your mindset needs to be aware of those certain things to understand okay, that's what it's going to be, or over time? Because some people eventually you give. If you don't get that, you just cut it off right there. But is it more of a mindset where you understand when you're at a better place in life, where you understand those things through trials and tribulations or things that you go through?
I think it's always in the mindset. Every little thing starts within, right? That's what we encourage, right? Everything starts within. But truth be told, it's difficult for me to, it's easy. It's easier said than done for me to just sit here and say, oh, if people don't give, you just move on. Don't worry about it. I mean, it is a mindset thing, right? It's a program. It's a habitual thing, right? Where you don't count favors, I should say. You don't count favors, right? It should be you. Like I said earlier, it's part of you. That's who you are. You learn to give, and you may not receive back. So be it. But it is all within. It's all kind of a mindset thing. If you're given in hope to receive, chances are you're never going to receive those blessings, what it is that you're looking for.
So that's the first fault, if you're giving out something and looking for something in return right away.
Yeah, that's the first fault. So I think is that you give for the better version of yourself, not so much for you to receive something, just because you want to reach the better version of yourself, and that's part of it.
And also make sure you're good before you start helping others.
Yeah, that's always key, right? You can't pour from an empty cup, but let's not get that confused as what is good. Like, just because you're not in the position of great power to help somebody, it could be as simple as just helping somebody as far as information, giving somebody access to information. You shouldn't hoard all the information. You cannot, one man can't even hold 1% of the information that the world has to offer. Giving would be, for instance, like we pointed out earlier, is sending out this information to somebody. You may not be able to help them financially, but you'll be able to help them to connect to the like-minded people, like what we have here on our podcast and our program. That's part of sharing, right? You may open the door for somebody by just simply sharing this with them. Right? So it's not always I gotta be rich so I could help people. It could be as simple as I think this will be beneficial to you. It might not be a financial gain, right? Like I said, it could be resources, right? It could be even just as far as anything that's not monetary, right? Anything that's not monetary. It could be as far as I came to support you because I know how important this means to you. That's a form of giving. It doesn't always have to be around money, right? I know in this day and age, everything is about money. So people feel like you're only helping me if you contribute financially. But hey, just being there for somebody in a time of need, if they're going through emotional distress, it may just be just sitting down with them. It may be just connecting them with, like I said, with resources, information that will help them overcome what it is they're going through. It doesn't necessarily mean, here's money, I help you out, now you owe me.
And one thing I love from your Gems of the Week is, being the person that you wish you had when you were younger.
Yep.
So I think if we have that in the back of your mind, you'll be more willing to help and give. Like, you've been a man who's always been sharing gems and helping people, out in different scenarios. Before you became that, or was this always you?
Well, I think that would be for my friends to debate. Those people that were wearing a fan of me will probably say, no, this guy's not the guy. But that's pretty. We all like to think ourselves in high regard more than we actually are. So if I was straight up to answer that question, I'll say yes. I've been a man that always give. But then you hear a bunch of my friends who come testify, no, he's not. But in all honesty, I just always felt good when you do good for somebody and you just see that joy in their eye. Like, they just look at you like, thank you. Like, this means a lot to me. I think that's the greatest form of satisfaction that I get, when somebody look at me and they're so grateful for what this I was able to do. And it's so minor. Most of the time, most of the things that I do for people is so minor, but just the feedback I get, there's no greater feeling, and that's kind of like why it made me start the journey of becoming a motivational speaker, just share the information with everybody around the world.
Now, was there ever any doubts in your head when it came to sharing information, or was it something that you studied, you got the information, you tried it out, made sure it worked for you, and then, or was it through the process as well, where you're just like, you learn something you don't know, but you're still sharing because it's information you didn't know? Yeah,
well, here's the thing. It's fear, right? It's fear. And then there's always like, where is growth at? You got to get out of your comfort zone. So everybody is fear. Like, it's something I've never done. And in a place that we've never been, we like to look around, get familiarized. Human beings we like to predict things, right? Whenever things are predictable, we're more comfortable. So I wasn't born a motivational speaker. I haven't been doing this my whole life. So there was a couple of obstacles that I had to overcome. And then also, it's like, is my information valid? Right? Looking for that approval, is my information valid? But I came to understand that it's not so much as me giving what the people want, it's me giving what I have. Right? Because I think in this day and age, when we talk about role model and my weekly gem, is that people feel like they need to fill the void. So sometimes it can be misinformed because they try to appeal to the crowd, appeal to the people. I'll never speak on nothing I don't know. In most cases, if you guys came and asked a question, to my best ability, I do answer questions. But if it's not, I will redirect you to where I feel like you can get that information. If I can, it's a new chapter for me to learn, for me to grow. So I always tell people we'll do our research like we often do, and we come back and share that information. Like I said, we live in this day and age where we have so much access to information and everybody has a platform to give information. A lot of it is misinformation and it's actually becoming dangerous if you look at it, right? So that was another obstacle that I had to deal with about getting out my comfort zone, fear, and how to deal with it. It's just all about being comfortable with who you are. And that's how I look at it.
And it's funny, it's so important why we have to do research, because I've seen get into the crypto convo of they made a coin based off that Netflix show that went Squid Game.
Yep.
And they made a coin right away, and people dumped so much money, and the founders of that were able to run off with millions of dollars because they took their money out right there. But people just caught up on the hype of, okay, this is Squid Game and I need to get my money and coins and things like this, so they did it right away. But if you had done your research, you would have known that this is stuff that people actually do, and they take advantage of scenarios and situations. But if you're a person who's just like following the crowd, you're gonna miss out on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's two things when we talk about it. There's no get rich quick scheme. Often we speak on this platform about financial gain. There's no get rich quick scheme. Also, logic, rationale over emotions, right? We shouldn't get all riled up in what it is that's going on. We shouldn't get riled up in what everybody else is doing. Do what works best for you. I know crypto is kind of like a new thing. Hey, if it doesn't sit well for you and you don't understand, best sit out, right? Because you usually become the victim of these kind of emotion roller coaster. Right, and people prey on that, and that's what we have in this day and age. People preying on people who are driven off emotions, right? So there's no get rich quick scheme, and be careful as far as committing yourself to anything emotionally, right? More often than not, people sell hope to those who are hopeless.
Yeah, that one was deep. That one was deep. And if it even hits home, it's okay, because you can always change your scenario. That's what I love about life.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to L's are part of life. And once you understand that you can change the narrative of a loss to a lesson, as long as you don't make the same mistake over and over again, then there's progress and things that you've learned from your mistake.
Exactly. Failure is not a destination. Success is not final. You're always going to continue working on yourself. The minute you failed is the minute that you officially said, I give up. I will no longer do this, right? Until then, you trying again. You find a different way. So like I just said, failure is not a final destination. It just means this way didn't work. Go figure it out. So if you have, and if you are a victim of this, don't feel bad. It happens to the best of us. Hey, in my younger days, I'd have got into some things that I thought were the answer and it wasn't. But eventually, it's part of life, right? And we're going to talk about positive thinking and negative thinking later on. But such is normal. Negative is normal. Like I speak about, would there be positive without negative, right? I'm not. And we'll talk about it when we talk about positive and negative thinking. But let's be very mindful of who we're allowed to intrude our mind, where we get our information from.
And you know what's so funny? The reality of life, like even when it comes to Mother Nature, where you just brought up that statement, but it's like when the sun comes out, the rain eventually is gonna come.
Yeah.
There's gonna be dark clouds. There's gonna be sunny days. There's gonna be rainy days. There's gonna be days where there's snow.
Contracts to everything in life,
so
light and darkness.
We start to open up our mind and look at things like that, you'll be able to understand. Like for instance, when winter's coming, what are we doing? We're making sure our cars are good. We're making sure our winter tires. We're switching it up. So it's like when you can, like with the simple things in life, when you can break that down and abstract it to your life, then you kind of will be able to have a flow and make it go just like a wheel and turn. But I think it's very important. I'm glad that you brought that fact of reciprocating. It doesn't only mean stuff. It can just be like, sharing information. And one thing I took from your Gemma Week that I loved the most is like, learn to get information from others as well too.
Yeah.
Don't just think we have the answers or just max. Like, no, do your research. And like you said, whatever works for you, it works for you. But
it works for
make sure
me.
you do the due diligence of doing your research and learning from others, and even a book or audiobook, finding out what works for you.
Be a student, right? Be a student of life. Don't be a follower. Be a student. All that life we've been following, observing, and just acting like sheeps. I say have a mind of your own. Do what works best for you. On this platform, we share information. You might go elsewhere and somebody might share different information that contradicts, right? Now it's up to you to decide what works best for you. Our platform, we do not know you personally to be speaking for your life, right? We're sharing information from our experience for what works for me, right? We're speaking from young Ghanaian, Canadian descent young men, our experience from how things worked out for me, right? Often I usually share this for the past year and a half now. I was talking about us not being able to connect more with the females because we don't know about the experiences, right? So it'll be kind of difficult for you to take information and assume that this will work for you perfectly. It's a tailor-made life. Your life is custom. It's designed for you. This is not one size fit all, right? We're all unique individuals. Let's start to live that. So when you do get information, dissect it, all right? You decide what works best for you. No one person have all the information. I encourage other people to go listen to other people's platform and other podcasts. Listen to what they're doing for you. Does this sit well with you? Are you able to dissect it, program it, and make it fit your life for you to reach your very full potential? No hate. Then you potentially have found what it is your purpose and passion is, right? We're talking about understanding self. This is not the only platform for you to understand yourself, right? I encourage people to get into real estate podcasts. I encourage people to get into the self-care, but let's be very careful with a lot of these role models and teachers, right? That's all I gotta say.
And we're in a time of where information is everywhere. And you posted something on your Snapchat that made me laugh. Where we're in a time right now where it's like, everything is teaching us about how to leverage or make more money or get our money invested in stuff. So it's like we can't miss out on this time because later down the line, our future kids, our future families, it's the decisions that we make today that is gonna, show what our future or how we're gonna live our life. And I'm pretty sure everybody wants the best type of life that they can, where they're gonna be able to have a shelter over their head, take care of bills, and not have to worry, stress too much. So I think it's very necessary in us to plan ahead.
Yep. The seeds that you plant today is the fruits that your family will eat tomorrow. Let's please remember that. Seeds that you plant today is the fruits that your family will eat tomorrow.
And right. I want to let everyone know we're on YouTube as well too right now. So shout out to everybody tuned into YouTube. Once you get into that YouTube, make sure you click that like button, comment. You can share it out. I know a lot of people are coming on the Instagram live as well too.
Share the knowledge, reciprocate, share the knowledge, right? You give somebody gem of the week that this information could potentially change somebody's life who's trying to figure out something because they're dealing with positive thinking and negative thinking, which we get into it later. But eventually your blessing is on its way. Even if it's no beneficial to you, share the knowledge, guys. Share the knowledge. The information is free. It does not hurt, right? See, when you give, I'm gonna say this in Reciprocate, when you give, you open up yourself for more, right? There's this thing about learning, right? When we talk about memory, the only way you're allowed to remember something is if you use it as soon as you learn it, right? Your mind somehow programs it to better recall it if you use this. So if you learn a word and you're having difficulty trying to remember it, throughout this day, as you're talking to people, learn to use that word. So it's kind of like the same thing. Learn to share information with people to start opening up yourself more for new information for yourself, right? You shouldn't hold on to something in your hand, right? It's past and going. This world is 8 billion people. We gotta learn to live amongst each other, right? Somebody's sitting there right now and this may be the breakthrough for them, but just because it doesn't benefit you, you feel like you gotta harbor this information. And I use this example on this platform before. Often, I'm pretty sure you guys can all testify to this, to the Instagram family. You go on social media and you see somebody is usually with female, not saying not all females, you see them with a pair of clothes or something they got on and somebody in the comments like, where'd you get this from? And they don't reply. They don't want to reply. They want to be the only one with it, right? Like, like if somebody else get it, it's no longer, but that's what value is. Like, you know what I mean? We got to start to learn to share that information. Like if you're blocking somebody else's blessing, you're not going to get blessed, you know what I mean? And at the beginning, it may be beneficial to you. You might feel like you're the chosen one and this is it. But along the lines, you will get what you deserve. I don't think we get away in life with anything that we do.
And sometimes I feel like people always look for recognition. More like if you're giving out information and stuff, you're looking out for that recognition to let somebody put somebody on, which is understandable as well too. But for those people who are like known to be helping people, and they have that mindset where it's like, yo, don't forget where you learned this from and stuff. Like, what advice would we give to understand that? Like, sometimes when people just learn things, they're just even shocked in the fact of learning something that they didn't know was as simple as like, like when it came to credit, like when I really figured out how you could check your credit score and really work on it, I was like, yo, this is not even that hard. Why the hell was I running away from this? Yeah. So how do we for those people on that end, if they're thinking like that?
Well, this is a debate where I'm kind of caught in the fence where people give for recognition. I look at it this way. It's like, should we tell them to stop giving just because they want recognition, but that takes away from the people they're giving from? So I'm kind of caught in the balance of, no, I'm not with that if you're giving for recognition, but at the end, regardless of their satisfaction, whatever reason that they're doing it for, somebody's benefited on the other end. Now, the intent might not be moral, but we're not the judge of that. So, like I said, it's usually in the balance. But I'm just saying, learn to give from the goodness of your heart. Like, if it's genuine, right? It's an intention, right? We talk about it's within with the mind, right? With the body, with the soul. If you're comfortable, if you could be able to sit within yourself why you do what it is that you do, your blessings will come.
Now we're in a day of age where like a lot of information is being thrown to us to learn things. Like 10 years ago, the conversation of like, credit and crypto and stocks wasn't as loud as it is right now. Yeah. For somebody who may be new to certain things and they're just starting to get things better in their life where they're taking care of what they have to do to, but it may feel like there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. What advice would we give them to kind of like, we don't want them to miss out on what's happening right now. Mm-hmm. What advice could we give them to kind of soak things in slow at a time?
Well, the key word is, you said, time, right? Commit yourself. If you have a lot on your plate, learn to manage that, right? Start making time for yourself for what it is that you want to contribute to. There's so many things that are going on in life. You got to learn to adapt. I think nobody should ever say, I'm content, right? The key to life is to be ambitious for more and be content with what you have. I think that's where you got to find a balance of happiness. In life, it's not about black and white, right? The key to life is to be ambitious for more and be grateful and content with what you have. So you got to gather that information. If people are giving you information you feel like you're missing out, learn to start attributing your free time to some of these things that you can invest in, right? And we all have free time, believe it or not. I don't care how busy you are, I guarantee you're spending some time that's probably not investing well into it is that your future. Which goes for me too, I ain't perfect, right? Last week was midterm week. Since then, I probably burned a lot of time doing unnecessary things, but it's like we need that balance, right? We cannot have darkness without light, right? We don't know hard work until we experience lazy days. So that's what the balance is. So we all have free time. So if you feel like you're missing out information, it probably requires you to commit some type of investment. You giving, once again, reciprocating, you giving to be able to receive.
Now there's one quote where I seen it, and I'm glad that you talked on it, that we do all have that time. And one thing that's beautiful is that we all have the same 24 hours.
We do.
And it's what you do with that time. And often what I've seen certain people, as I've been studying them, they're talking about as the days go by, so as Monday finishes, before we go to bed, let's analyze our day. What did we spend our time doing? And that's how you'll be able to break down and see like, okay, I put all my time into this. I can break this down and cut an hour from this and put it into bettering myself to learn some information or to just, see what I could get out of that could be beneficial to me.
We said this on the platform, track your days as if you're a business. See what goes in, see what goes out. What did you do with your day? Is it going to help you to become who it is you want to be tomorrow? All right. Before you wake up, before you go to bed, analyze it. What did you accomplish? When you wake up in the morning, right? Meditate, get your breakfast in, take care of yourself more than ever. You are part of it, right? You need to be healthy. That's key. You got to be healthy, right? You got to be healthy too. It's a business, right? You want to make sure it's well and running, but calculate what it is that you want out from this day. And at the end of the night, document what it is that you got out of this day. And then you'll be able to see. It's not a shocking or a surprise where you are a month from now, a year from now, 2 months from now. You have track. That's what it is. We could go back and see the records and see the documentation. Why is it that you ended up here today? I promise you, if you do what it is that you know you need to do, you will get what it is that you want. Right? I'm gonna say that again. If you commit yourself to doing what it is that you need to do, you will get what it is that you want.
And I mean, it's only right that we do these things.
Yeah, it's part of life. Like, this burden in life. I think we all got to carry something in life to feel a sense of existence, right? Often when we feel bad about ourselves, what are we doing? We're usually lying around doing nothing, right? We have a sense of no purpose. We need that, right? Welcome all challenges. You don't know which one is going to turn your life around. I think that's what makes life is as an experience, right? If you just stay in bed all day, what is there to talk about? What is there to live? What is there to be able to analyze as, yes, I exist. right? Part of existing is overcoming various obstacles, right? Triumphs to know that I'm not the same person I used to be, or I used to be here, I'm no longer there, or this is coming from me, right? And the greatest joy comes from the most challenges, our most difficult battles, right? That's when we get real joy, right? When things are just easy, we wish for that. But wishing for your life to be easy is wishing for your life to go away. Literally, wishing for your life to be easy is wishing for your life to go away. I think we got to gather all the experiences. Think of the most impactful moments are attributed to times where we thought that this may be it. Like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of it. Those live with us much longer, right? Much longer than the time that we stayed in bed. You probably won't be able to recall all the millions of hours you spent doing nothing. But the eventful moments, you share memories about going with your friend here and this happened. And I remember the time I couldn't get out of this situation. That's what life is. Gathered all the experience, right? And that's what life is. And that's what keeps death at a respectable distance, right? So you want to live.
You know what's crazy about it? It's like, think about when this pandemic first started to where we are right now, where we're over that phase. I remember in the beginning. And also to our people joining us on Instagram Live, we are live on YouTube right now. So shout out to our people, our YouTube family. We're going on episode 6, which is something new and different. And I like it, we've just touched about 800 followers on Instagram too. So shout out to the family. Just make sure you guys subscribe. We want to turn those numbers into subscriptions on the YouTube as we're getting ready to gear into what we're doing, whether it's on podcast, on YouTube. So shout out to our family. Join us here. Keep doing this. But as we're switching this, make sure you join us on YouTube. If you like what you hear, screen record, share it in your story. We're going to get back with the affirmations on the run. We post on the page as well to keep all the positive thinking going that we're trying to do. And we're going to get into that before, but we have about 3 minutes before we get into our affirmation. So right now, if you're just joining us, we're talking about reciprocation. Where it talks about the energy we're giving out, the information, what we're learning. Let's not keep things for ourselves. Like, literally, when we talk about thinking about the person that you wish you had when you were younger, literally think about that.
Yep.
Think about the things. Or me, it's so funny. Anytime I see kids and I'm so on it where I talk to them because I'm like, yo, you guys have no idea. Because sometimes I try to think about who was there to help me to teach, and it doesn't come to me. So I'm like, okay, if I see a child, I'm going to talk to them, get to know them age, let them know the age difference so they understand that if I'm telling them, why I'm telling them.
Why are you telling them?
I don't want them to make the same mistakes that I had. And the beauty of everything is when you're still alive and still breathing, still being able to put food on your table or have a family house or your own house, like those are the blessings that we need to be thankful for, to understand this, to learn for the big stuff that we want to get out of life.
Yes.
Because it's the small things that we got to be happy for.
Yeah. One thing I want to add is when we talk about being a role model for our younger self or younger, don't feel burdened the need that you feel like you have to save everybody, right? Don't lose your happiness to try to make somebody else's happy. You may not be the answer for them, right? That's something that we deal with so much this day and age, where we feel like we've got to save everybody and everybody we can, we must see result. It may not be, you may be the catalyst, you may be the start of it, but doesn't necessarily mean you're going to finish with them. So don't feel the burden that I got to get an outcome out of this. I always help people with your credit, what it is, but not everything turned out. Eventually down the line, they turn out some other way and they're like, hey, some of the things that you're telling me you're right. But at the moment, right, they say when the student is ready, a teacher will appear. You may not be that student's teacher, right? So don't feel that burden that you need to get results, right? And if you're putting your hand out to help somebody and not taking it, don't drown, right? Don't keep your hand out there. It's okay. It's okay. Don't feel the burden.
And I mean, life is life. Like, we got to think of what we want out of life and then understand, okay, what is it going to require for me to live this life that I want? Don't just keep everything in the mind. I think the mind can be a very great thing, but can also be a dangerous thing sometimes for people, where it comes there, they're overthinking too much. And how do we, what advice, before we switch and get into the affirmation, if there's one advice you could give to the overthinkers, what would you tell them?
It's not accurate. It's habitual thinking. Right? Eventually just compound. It's not accurate thinking. I want you to stop yourself when you have a negative thought and say, this is just all in your head. It's not accurate thinking, right? More times you're just creating all the negative possibility. Not once you stop yourself to say, wait, what if none of this happens? Right? You're just going to add on. Well, if this happens and if that happened, you just keep going and it keeps getting worse. That's how the mind is. It's easier said than done, but it's difficult for us to reprogram my mind positively than it is negatively. I know I used that analogy before about how fast does it take to take down a building. less than what? A day, 2 days? How long does it take to put up a building? Months, a year, all right? So please, all right? So please stop yourself when that building is coming down. Why? Because you took time to build that building.
Perfect. I like that. Click art. Yes, 11:11. That's where we make an affirmation. We don't make wishes. You know, we make affirmations. And our affirmation for the day is, I am worthy enough to follow my dreams and manifest my desires. Everything will work out for me. I am full of optimism. I am conquering my illness and I'm defeating it steadily each day. Today, I will not stress over things I cannot control. So one more time, I'm gonna repeat that. I am worthy enough to follow my dreams and manifest my desires. Everything will work out for me. I am full of optimism. I am conquering my illness. I am defeating it steadily each day. Today, I will not stress over things I cannot control. And I think, you know, I believe we're all dreamers.
Yeah, as we should, right? It all starts with a dream. We are dreamers. Every little piece of document, product we're using started with a dream. We need the dream. We have to have a dream. But don't be a dreamer. Don't be a dreamer. You're going to need to be a risk taker. You got to be a believer. Believe that what it is that you're dreaming about is possible. Don't just live there, right? If you're just going to dream, go back to bed. It's safer there. Stay in bed all day. Stay in that realm sleep and keep dreaming.
And I mean, like, you know, it's very simple. As actions speak louder than words. You can say all these things, but you got to put things into action.
Yep. Action do speak louder than words. It's not so people don't judge you by what you say, right? Initially they do, right? Because that's all they have. But eventually they start judging character, right? What it is that you're producing. We look at results, all right? And I know it's a terrible world. People shouldn't judge, but for the last 2021 years, they do. If you want to change it, let me know if you have a way. If you want to be a dreamer to change that people shouldn't judge you, I'm here to tell you they do, right?
And I mean, the one thing I loved about that affirmation too is I am worthy. Like it's speaking that positive, like, you know, message to yourself. Where sometimes people feel like what they've been through or not, they're not worthy enough to see better or make a change. And this is why it's so important to say these affirmations out loud and, you know, say it in the mirror when you're in your car by yourself. Like, speak highly of yourself. These things will help boost your confidence, and when you boost your confidence, like, it can only lead to a upward in your life where, you know, you can go upward and forward and move against whatever you want in the positive way. Which leads us to our next topic.
I just wanna throw this in there. Yesterday morning's quote of the day was, the realization of self-worth is the beginning of progress, right? Don't let circumstance or situation define who you are. You are worthy, right? You are worthy. Just because somebody doesn't see the worth in you doesn't mean you're not worthy. You're just not worthy to them. You're very special. You're very special. It may not be to them, but it may be to somebody else. And that's the thing. We always try to find our value in places that we shouldn't be looking. And then we feel devalued or we feel worthless because that person doesn't see our true self on what it is. So the beginning of self-worth is the beginning of progression, right? Progress in life. So just because you don't feel value here, you may feel value somewhere else. And you may be MVP over there. You may be the most valuable player over there, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Wherever you feel the value, that's just not, you're not for them. It's not about they're not for you. You're not for them. You're special, right?
And self-worth is very important. You know, we gotta love ourselves. We gotta make sure that we understand who we are, not let people define who they think we are.
Yep. And people we all do it. We try to devalue other people so we could feel good about ourselves. That's where most of the people come from. So if you feel somebody don't value, it's because maybe they see the power, the gift in you, so they do not want you around them. Right? They want to be the only light shining in the room. And those people are often never successful. All right? Give people their flowers. All right? When you see somebody do good, praise them, right? Give them a hand clap and encourage them to do more. And that's how we think we all should do. Each day we should realize our worth, our value, and keep adding to it, compound it. 1%, if you get better 1% each day, you'd be amazed where your life will be a year from now.
And they always talk about, like, you know, where don't be worried if you're not invited somewhere because your presence alone could steal the show. So, like, sometimes people feel like when there's things going on and they're not invited, that they're less of a person, or why wasn't I invited? And we need to change that narrative. Like, you know, we're looking at, like, if I wasn't invited, I wasn't invited. You know, there's other reasons that can't be in a negative way. Like, find the positive out of the situation. And that leads us right into our next topic. So if you're just joining us right now, we're live on YouTube. Shout out to everybody that's watching us from YouTube right now. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure you click that like as soon as you get in there. Click that like button, comment, engage, share everybody. You know you can watch this from the comfort of your home, work, your smart TV, on your phone. We keep the Instagram live going as well to remind everybody as well too. But make sure if you're following us here and you haven't done so, go click that subscribe button in our YouTube. Go watch us right now as we're live. Click that like button and let's keep the engagement and things going as we are loving this journey that we're on right now while we're building the platform Motivation Money Live. So we were talking about reciprocation. We spoke about that for a while. Now we're going to talk about negative thinking versus positive thinking and how it can affect us in our daily endeavors in life to this thing that we call life, this beautiful thing that we call life. Now, you always talk about how there's a lot of negative in this world, even into our thoughts and process of our head, right?
Yep.
Where you can wake up and right away, like you always hear about people, like I seen somebody on Twitter, they're like, why did I wake up? Now I got to deal with all this stress of life. And I was dying. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like people really have the time to think about that, and you're going on Twitter to share that instead of doing what you got to do it. But like we've come to an age where people always want to share their problems or share this stuff out there instead of actually tackling and handling what it is they need to. Is that because of the negative thinking is overpowering what there is in their mind?
It is. Like you just said, like you got to learn to fight it. Negative is normal, right? Doesn't mean we have to accept it. Listen to what I just said. Negative is normal. Doesn't mean we have to accept it, right? We got to learn to work with it, right? We got to learn to work with it. Such is life. It's part of life. I'm probably the only motivational speaker you're ever gonna hear say that. Negative is normal. We gotta learn to work with it. You cannot turn your head. Ignorance is not blitz. You cannot turn your head and say there's no weeds. There's no weeds. Eventually they'll overtake your garden. Right? That's what I mean by negative is normal. You gotta be aware of your surroundings. You gotta be aware of the danger. Right? It's a must that you know that you do not go there because there's danger. All right, so negative is normal, but the key to all of this is learning to work with it. Don't let it define who you are, right? Don't let it define who you are. Don't let the situation be the symbol of your life, right? If you went through a lot of barriers, and I know some people have misfortunate situations that's more than others, that doesn't define who you are. That's just a circumstance, right? No situation is permanent. No situation is permanent, good or bad. No situation is permanent, right? Even if something is going good for you, it's not permanent, right? No situation is permanent. So learn to work with negative. Learn to use it to your advantage.
And how do we? Because things could always be worse, and that's where the positive thinking comes up. And I feel like sometimes when a person is used to negative thoughts or negative things in their head, they see difficulty in almost every opportunity.
As you think, so you become. It's called self-fulfilling prophecy, where you have a thought in your head and you work and you actually ideally work towards those things unconsciously, right? You put it in your mind. You put it in your mind unconsciously, where you deliberately walk. Well, not deliberately because you're unconscious. Where you walk towards those things, and then when you get there, you're like, aha, I knew it. Right? It's your thoughts, right? All you're seeing is the negative. So you mentioned the person on Twitter, right? They already clouded your mind and judgment, right? Somebody coming along the way today could eventually derail the rest of your day. As simple as being in their way could bump into them, and he said, aha, I knew it. This is the worst day of my life. Not gonna deal with everybody's situation. But it could be something that could change somebody else's day. You bump into the same person, right? And just say, sorry about that. Good morning. That smile on their face, that compliment they might give back could change the direction of your life, right? So as you think, so you become. Be careful what you say to yourself. Be careful of the thoughts that are polluting. Stop your negative thoughts. If it's happening, stop it right there. 80% of what we think about is negative. Easier said than done. It's 80 against 20, right? 80% of our thoughts is negative, all right? So learn to fight it. As you think, so you become. It's not accurate thinking, it's habitual thinking.
And as you become a positive thinker, you'll see an opportunity in every difficulty, which is the opposite. And that's where we talked about earlier, where like, if And if you take an L or something happens to you, you can actually figure out like, okay, what am I learning from this? And it won't like hinder you sometimes, because that negative thinking can hinder you. And you always hear people, oh, this ruined my day.
Yeah.
And we always talked about where it comes to finances. If you had about $20,000 in a day and $10 came out, are you gonna let that 10 cents or $10 affect what else is going on in your account? It goes to the, if we had all these seconds in the day and 10 seconds, let's say somebody ruined it for a minute, are you gonna let that minute, you know, how did the rest of the day when you have all these hours and minutes ahead of you to change exactly what it is? So that's why we encourage positive thinking, and it can help us for so many other reasons.
Yep. Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way that they actually are. Right? It's how do you look at it? Is the cup half empty or is the cup half full? Right? Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they actually are. All right. Have a perspective of looking at things at an optimistic view. Right? Believe in society. I know it's 80%. I might say it's this world is. I have my own beliefs. Like, you know, like I live on the negative side, try to understand and dissect it. But I'm gonna say this again: our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things they are, not the way they actually are. Right? And then once our thoughts are inaccurate, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna tell you guys, right? What you think, you don't know half of it. Right? Somebody said our view of life is looking through a window, a dirty window. That's your view of life, right? It may work for you in the context of where you grew up, where you think the answers is, or where things should be, but that's not definite, right? That's how you've been raised. That's how you have been taught to think. That's not how life is, right? You're looking at 6, I'm looking at 9. Who's right? Right? It's all about point of view. Who's right? You're looking at 6, I'm looking at 9. Perception controls reality, right? So be careful. Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they actually are.
And you know, I know this month for November, they made it Men's Mental Health Month. Later on, we'll have a special guest that we'll bring to the show and speak on that. But you know, mental health is a real thing where I feel like sometimes people don't even understand that when negative stuff happens to it, it takes so super control. And I want to know, is it something that, how does somebody know when they need to seek out for help, where something is actually taking control of them, where the negative is actually like taking over them? It's like, okay, maybe I do need help.
Well, the first sign is it affecting your daily lives? Is it affecting the people around you, right? That's when you know you're walking into dark territories. So if it's you lying to your loved ones, you staying away from your loved ones that like to see you, it's not only so much as in your head, it's actually becoming external, right? I think that's when, right? So you might deny, I'm perfectly fine, but are the people around you fine? You're affecting them negatively and you're not aware, right? So once these internal battles, I know we'll deny that all ourselves, we're healthy and everything is right. Once it starts affecting your lives and you start avoiding people and there's things you don't want to get into, things that you used to have joy in and you're no longer having joy in that, I think it's time to seek for help. And there's this negative connotation about mental health and seeking help. Listen, being healthy, being healthy is cool. I'm gonna say this again. Being healthy is cool. Mentally, being healthy is cool, right? We shouldn't feel a way about needing a therapist or this, that, right? It's not so much as you being weak, it's you becoming the better version of yourself. It's actually making you stronger, that you're able to tap into your vulnerabilities. These are the aspects of my life I need to work on. It's gonna open gates for many things and great things for it to happen in your life, right? So to go back to your question is, when should we start seeking help? Because we'll lie to ourselves all day. We do it all day. We'll lie to ourselves all day. But once you're able to start realizing that it's affecting those people around you and the things that you do, then I think it will be a good time to seek help, you know?
And I think it's a beautiful thing where we need to start preaching and letting people know, like, you know, we need to become the masters of our life. Like, we need to control, like, where our thoughts go. Because, you know, once you learn how to control where your attention goes and where you put your time, you value what you give your energy and time to.
Yep.
And then once you start to value these things, then, you know, you'll see the better and the positive things in life, and you'll be able to dissect things in a different understanding of life, because your mindset is now changing. You understand what it is you got to do each and every day. You know, and we have new people coming in and joining our Motivation Monday family. Thank you for, I don't know, then this is what we're talking about, reciprocating the energy. Whoever shared it out to you, you know, shout out to that person. And let's keep reciprocating that energy. If somebody shared this to you, you can share this out to somebody as well too. And we're live on YouTube as well too. So join us on the YouTube, click the link in our bio, subscribe to the YouTube, to our people out there. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you engage. Now, for somebody who's a positive thinker, like somebody could be like, yo, Master Speaker, it's so easy for you to say this because look how comfortable you are on YouTube. Look how comfortable you are speaking to us and telling us what we need to know. Is there something you could tell to those people? Because was this always like you? Like this is something that a new journey you had to go and get on?
Life is about balance. It's a thin line. You see, I never want to sit here and talk about my problems and think because people are looking for that answer. Aha, I knew it. Right? I could sit here and talk about all the negative into my real estate investment. I could sit here and talk about being arrested and some of these things, right? But to me, I feel like that would be investing towards the negative thoughts of what people already have. So I like to share the positive information. Now, if you want to get dark and see the dark side, I could easily have a sit down with you, but I'll never use my platform to talk about hardship that I've been through because I feel like more than ever, people look for reasons to do the bare minimum, right? More than ever, people look for the reasons to do the bare minimum. I'm not saying negative is not normal, such as life, right? I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't overcome some of these problems. It's possible, right? It's possible. Increase your probability, right?
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to negative thinking and positive thinking, let's try to be on the positive aspect of life, to our thoughts, to our friends, the conversations we have, the relationships we have, what we do in our time. Like, let's see the great things out of what we're doing and spending our time and energy into it. Because one thing about life with time, you can't get that back. So let's use it wisely.
One more thing I'd like to add about thinking, whatever it is that you find yourself constantly going through, that's what you think you deserve.
Cool.
I'm gonna say that again. Whatever that you find yourself constantly going through, that's what you think you deserve. You're probably sitting there going through hardship. You're like, wait, what? No. Keyword is constantly. That's the key word in this, right? Keyword is constantly. Whatever it is that you find yourself constantly going through, that's what you think you deserve, right? Eliminate those thoughts, those processes. You deserve more than that. You're valuable. Don't let society or anybody tell you how you should think or feel, right?
Self-worth. Let's love ourselves first and you know, see the good in who we are and what we are. Don't let the obstacles and stuff that we've been through, like, you know.
You define situations. You create situations. You determine the outcomes. Those situations don't determine who you are.
And our last topic of the day is how to be responsible and stop the blame game. I feel like so much, you know, so crazy in life. There's been so much going on, especially in this weekend. And I want to even use this time to just, you know, our condolences going out to the Astroworld Festival, the kids who lost their life. Like, there's so much going on over there where we've just been seeing everybody blaming. I don't want to get into it right now. But when I saw that going on, I was like, yo, do we keep the same energy within ourselves when it comes to when we have stuff to do, when we have tasks to do, when we have, even when it comes down to what we talk about the financial aspect, if we owe anything on our credit score, are we being responsible enough to take matters in our own hands and fix it and be like, okay, I'm gonna own up to this. Like, if my past is my past and I did these kind of things, like put somebody's phone in my name and the person didn't pay it, I might now ask myself like, okay, even though this went wrong, it was my fault why it happened, and how am I learning this stuff? So, because I feel like we get caught up of pointing fingers and forgetting that there's 3 fingers pointing back at you when you point at somebody. So I'm trying to like get us to change that narrative and not really blame ourselves, but understand why things happen so that we can deal with it accordingly and not look at the negative side of what it is. Like, oh, you did this, you're the reason why my life is like this, and be like, okay, I put myself in this situation. Now, how am I gonna be responsible to get myself out of this situation, wherever it can be in life?
That's your key to freedom. Take full responsibility for what happens to you, right? If somebody did you wrong, right? I'm not saying that they didn't, but I'm saying the minute you free yourself from holding them responsible, you start to free yourself from that burden, that baggage that you're dealing with. Because more times when people do us wrong, we're under the impression, under the assumption that they're thinking about that situation, that their life is in a turmoil just like our life is. I'm here to tell you it's not. Somebody gave you a hard time and you're here dwelling on it. I promise you, they're not dwelling about the exact same situation. They might have their own problems and they move on to bigger and better things. Ladies and gentlemen, they're not thinking about the problems they put you through, right? You sitting here, your friend did you wrong, your friend lied to you. Your friend is not thinking about why they lied to you. I'm telling you, they're not thinking about why they lied to you. Stop wasting energy on things that you cannot change. All right? You're holding yourself back from your actual happiness and freedom. Take full responsibility for what happened to you. Accept the fact that it was you that allowed yourself to be put in that predicament, in that position, and learn from it. Right? Once again, what did I say earlier? If you find yourself consistently in the exact same situation, is what you think you deserve. Right? So learn from it. Learn from it. Right? It's experiences. Learn from it. Use it as a lesson to gather it and move on with life. Right? That's not just because something happened to you because of a friend. Don't hold that. They're not thinking about it. Like, I find it so difficult. I see people, I don't talk to them, this, that, and I probably know the other person and they did not feel that way. And it's actually quite depressing to know that you're here exerting energy on somebody who's not even taking the time out of their day. We all like to think that we're valuable, but valuable people don't invest in things that don't produce for them. All right, so let's start taking full responsibility for what happened to us, even if it's at the hands of other people. Is the minute you start to free us on this side of the world, under individualistic society, and we all live in the West. Even if you live in culturalistic society, we're starting to see that most people who take full responsibility for what happens to them and everybody else around them tend to be more successful. Right? And it's not even about being more successful. It's the only way you get things done. You sitting here to take a step forward, but you're standing in still because something that happened to you at this very spot, you're waiting for somebody else to apologize. You be stuck there.
You stay there forever.
You'll be stuck there, ladies and gentlemen. You will be stuck there. All right? Learn to take full responsibility for everything that happens to you, right?
And why is it so easy to just put the blame on others and not even see that, like, take in or full accountability for what happens to us in terms of that in life?
It feels good. It's the excuse for us to do the bare minimum. Human beings, we've been blessed with so much gift, but we're lazy. We all are. Right? I said we. I'm not pointing the finger at nobody. I said we all are, right? It feels good. We don't want to hold no kind of responsibility, but that's not, happiness is not there. Happiness is not doing the bare minimum, right? So it just feels good. So we continue to do this. Right? And the reason why I can't get this done because of so and so and this, that, right? If it's been done before, that excuse is no longer valid. If it's been done before, that excuse is no longer valid. And I guarantee if you go searching, your excuse is no longer valid, right? Just because it feels good doesn't mean it's right, right? Just because it feels good doesn't mean it's right. True joy comes from hardship, right? We can't experience happiness without sadness.
And that's why we need to control some of the things. Like, even when we give people tasks and stuff to do in life, we got to understand that what could come with giving out tasks or leaving something in somebody else's hand. I think sometimes people always want to put people in position or do things. They don't think about it. What if this doesn't go right? They don't think about that side. But is it something in life where right now we need to be thinking about those things? Like, because of course you see the good in others. That's why people will leverage and give an opportunity to somebody. But we got to look back and analyze, what if it goes wrong? Because if it goes wrong, then it can fall back on you.
It can fall back on you. Well, that's a great example. Take full responsibility. If so-and-so doesn't show up on Friday like they promised to, right? Yes, we know it's them that didn't show up, but take the responsibility that you should have checked in. They should have maybe checked in with them. And that's where we're in this day and age where people are having fallouts. It could be as simple as, hey, what's going on Friday? Are we still good? Do you need something? Do you mind giving me an update, right? But we wait until Friday, the person don't fall out, and then we're mad at them. We have a fallout with people that we had great long-term relationships with, but now we have a fallout because of a miscommunication. So it's good to check in. That's part of being responsible. That is part of being responsible. Can you please keep me updated, right? So that it doesn't fall in your face on Friday. Because if they don't show up, who are they disappointing? Not them. It's you that feel disappointed, right?
And also, we gotta, I remember because I was watching a couple interviews this weekend. A lot of interviews kind of went viral this weekend, and people had things to say. But it's like sometimes we let sometimes we let certain words that are said to us affect how we are, and then that's why it's so easy to be like, well, forget what this person said. This is how they feel about me, and it's just gonna affect the way things are. And it's kind of going back to the negative stance where we're not allowing people and words to affect what we're doing. Or like if a situation happens and somebody's putting the blame on you, You know, when people get upset and angry right away, they may say words or stuff that they don't really mean. But then on the other end, someone will be like, well, if you said it, you really meant it. There's honest truth in those words. So how do we kind of dissect where it's like understanding that if a mistake has happened or somebody's upset, don't really let the words get the best of you, but analyze the situation and see how you can come out of it to keep this relationship fair or in the same level or even better, or learn from that situation.
You know, we all say a bunch of things that sometimes as humans, we don't know the true intention of other people. And in a world where we're all living in one place, i.e. the internet, what might seem reasonable, respectful, might be different from somebody else. So we don't know the intent, we don't know the context, right? So how do we communicate? We got to start understanding as human beings, we're all different, unique individuals. Right? I came across some culture shocks during situations, but it's not. The other day I was watching about how, as a friend, you should walk in an African parent's house, how you should greet them, right? That's totally different from somebody who grew up in the West or grew up in a different culture. But the parents might feel like it's a form of disrespect. But you see, we gotta understand that we're all living in one place now, right? Globalization, we're all living in one place, we share information. So we gotta start understanding people. We will never know the true intent of what it is that somebody is saying. But I saw earlier in one of the comments, communication is key. We gotta learn to communicate. Right? And when we communicate, mostly we should listen more than we talk. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen as twice as much as you talk. Communication is not about talking and let them hear what it is that you have to say. It's understanding what each other have to say. Right? Right? That's what communication is all really about. Communication is not because I want to talk. No, communication is understanding. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you talk.
And I mean, like, with every topic that we had going on today, I feel like everything plays a hand in each. Like, you know, where it came to reciprocation, you're talking about if your thoughts are mostly negative, then those negative things that you're thinking about is going to happen. And now we're talking about being responsible and stop the blame game. Like, it's so easy to blame others, right?
It's very easy. How easy it is to make an excuse just like that. You can wake up right now, whatever it is that is going on in your life, you can give me a list of why it went wrong. And it's usually going to be external factors. It's so and so did that. I couldn't do this because of this. And COVID and this, that. Life is not out to get you. I know you feel like it. You're probably watching this and think life is out to get you. And I don't think like you're single out to have all the burdens in life. All right. So please believe that. It's not, I don't think, I know. I know you're not single. I know it feels like that sometimes where you feel like everybody's against me, no support. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot going on in this world, and we should start paying mind to what it is that we have and be grateful, right? Be ambitious for more, be content with what you have. Life is not out to get you, right? These are challenges that are supposed to make something of you, to create a better version of yourself. These are challenges that are supposed to make something out of you, to create a better version of yourself. Don't run away from your problems. You need to turn around and face the demon that you're running from. That's where growth is at. Right? Once you defeat that battle, once you win that battle, the battle of the mind, whatever it is that's constantly eating you alive, you can start to contribute on the external world, what it is that you want to contribute to. Maybe be a better boyfriend, a better girlfriend, a better husband, a better wife, right? A better big brother, a better mother, right? But you can't because you're dealing with a battle internally, right? Learn to fight that battle within. That's where growth is at.
And I love that, Rise Above it said, I hope so, brother. And it's not even hope, it will happen. Like once you...
We don't use hope, have faith, be a believer. Hope is a beggar. Hope, you can't hope to get across the pond, right? You got to have belief, you got to have faith. That's the only way you start to create possibility for yourself, So verbiage, we don't hope. Hope is putting your hands out and hoping that things work out. We don't do that. Right, we have faith that it's gonna work out, even if our hand is not out. We have faith that it's coming. Change your belief system. I know it's tough, hardship. I may not know you directly. I can only imagine what it is that you're going through, but it's possible. Right, just please remember that it's possible, but it's hard work. It's gonna take the requirement for you to tap in within yourself. Know that it's possible for me, and I will do whatever it is that I need to do to overcome this. Right.
But you're on the right track. The fact that you're even here in the platform and even hearing these things, that's okay.
Awareness is key, right? Just verbiage is key, right? But that's what it is. Be careful what you say to yourself. What you say is what you're thinking, right? So start to reprogram it. That's how we start the negative thought. It's possible no matter how bad it is. And you could be optimistic. You could feel great about the life. As soon as you go to try on something, you get knocked in your mouth. Such is life. You get back up, right? It does not end until you give up, right? You may feel optimistic to go do something right now. I listen to E-Bone and Max. I'm up and ready. I'm going to the gym. Your car stops. So be it. All right? It's not working. Make the most of it. Make the most of every situation. Right? Work out outside. Right? It's a challenge that you didn't give up. Even if it's cold. Understand it. That's a big barrier to work out in the cold. It's a big, whatever it is, in any way that you want to look at it. You're fired. Things are difficult. It's a time for you to start your business. All right?
And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up week 82, episode 6 on YouTube and on our podcast. This week we talked about reciprocation, negative thinking versus positive thinking, how to be responsible and stop the blame game. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up Motivation Monday. MC E-Bone, what's your call?
Shout out Mike real quick. He said my car just, and he's laughing, you know, don't let it defeat you. It's a Monday, it's a Monday. Welcome all experiences. Now your week only get better.
Facts.
Right? Your week only get better. Appreciate you guys. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, all the platforms, Spotify. Follow MC E-Bone. Follow me, Max the Speaker. I love it. Appreciate all the love and support. And we're signing out. We'll hear from us next week.
After that, someone, Grandma Small said, what's his name? She's like, Max. Grandma said, preach, Max. Yeah, man, we preaching, we spreading the word.
Thanks, Grandma.
These things,
I love the blessings. No greater blessings than coming from grandmas. It's special. Those blessings are special. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love and support.
So stay tuned. Turn on post notifications. To our people on YouTube, we're signing out. Make sure you click that like button before you get off there. And to our people who are here, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, go do so. And have a great day. Have a great week. Positive thinking over everything. And let's just accomplish our goals and get to it.